We're building another watch. It's a rainy day here in England, and what better way to pass the time than to build a little watch? And this one is going to be quite unique. I've seen on AliExpress a bunch of these transparent cases going around, and these are made to look like sort of iconic watches. Obviously, this one looks like a Submariner, and I'm a massive fan. I think it looks super cool. Obviously, the back is completely exposed, but it's exposed all the way around. Obviously, it's completely transparent. The movement that we're going to be putting in there is an NH35A, which is a stunning Seiko movement, which is a really nice movement to be looking at. And obviously, the back of this case is completely clear, as is everything. So we're able to see the movement from all angles, which is a rather unique opportunity while it's actually cased up in the case. So really excited about that. It also comes with a transparent bracelet, which again styled to look like the Rolex Submariner bracelet, the kind of Jubilee bracelet. There's a plastic protective wrap on here at the moment. I'm not a massive fan of this clasp. That unfortunately does look a little bit janky, but we're gonna have to just reserve our judgment on this until the end and then take a look and see how it looks overall. It might look like utter crap. We're gonna have to just wait and see. What could actually be kind of cool is finding like a NATO strap that matches the dial, so that you've got this kind of like transparent case with a really cool color dial that then kind of carries on throughout the NATO strap. That could look rather interesting. Speaking of dials, this is the dial I went for. An ice blue dial with absolutely no logos, no markings, nothing on it. It's got the little window there for the date, which is nice. It's going to mean that this is actually a multifunctional watch. This has a date inside the movement as well, so that's really cool. I am super excited. The hands are just some basic white Submariner hands, so yeah, I just think that if it's gonna be a Submariner case, we kind of need to stick to that. So, without any further ado, let's get some finger cots on and put this bad boy together. Before we go any further, I would just like to say a massive thank you to PCBWay for sponsoring this video. If you're looking to up the quality of your home tech DIY projects, then look no further than PCBWay. They offer CNC machining, 3D printing, sheet metal fabrication, and injection molding. As well as that, they of course offer every single PCB you can possibly imagine. You don't have to spend a fortune buying massive quantities. They also do very small quantities for people just making personal projects who want that professional finish. Check out PCBWay through the link in the description below. So to get started, we're going to put the dial onto the movement. Let me zoom the camera in. Here we go. Let's go ahead and pop this on. So the date window here is going to be on the right hand side and in line perfectly with the crown. And then there's going to be a couple of holes around the outside of the case, which will line up with the dial feet. Although, just taking a look at that there, we're going to have to cut off which dial feet we're not going to need. So let me just work out which ones that is. Okay, so I've managed to remove all of the dial feet that we are not going to be using. So now we can set the dial down onto the movement. So again, line up that date window with the crown or the stem, and it will just slot on. Make sure to take your time. If you take the movement out, you can assess whether or not it's gone all the way down. That looks fairly good. Awesome. There we go. And then that will change the time, but obviously there's no hands in there at the moment. So the next thing for us to do is put the hands on. I'm going to change up this camera over here so we can get a better shot of it. So to start with, what we need to do is set the time to 12 o'clock. So to do that, we're going to turn the crown until the date is about to move over to 12 o'clock. There we go, it's starting to move now. And then just as it ticks over, I think what I might do is give it just one extra little turn, because sometimes it can jump a little bit earlier when you're doing it really quite quickly compared to when you're doing it with the actual natural time. So we'll see. That might be wrong, but I've given it just a very tiny extra turn there. Okay, let's get out the hand pushers. So these are the hand pushers. So they're basically just these little pen-looking things with a barrel on the end. If we get the right size one for the hour hand, I'm going to go with this grey one here. Okay, here we go. So let's pick up the hour hand with our Rodico, and then we can get ready to push it down. I'm going to take my time here because this is a very delicate process. Here we go. And you also need to make sure that it's perfectly at 12 o'clock. Let's see. Well, there we go. It's moving around. That's a good start. So that's midday. There we go, into the evening. Oh my goodness. That was smooth. That was unbelievably smooth. Let's get that perfectly aligned there to 12. And now let's go on with the minute hand. That was the smoothest one I've ever done. Will I mess it up with the minute hand? Let's find out. Here we go. Let's see what happens when we get to 12 o'clock. Here we go. Ah, that wasn't great. That one wasn't great. Let's try that again. Let me see. Okay, the hour hand is perfect. The minute hand needs to come off. That is not quite right. That's about 5 minutes behind. I'm going to place this little piece of plastic over the hands like that. I'm just going to tilt this so that it's perfectly at 12 o'clock for me, for the minute hand. And then I'm going to get between the hour and the minute hand and very gently lift it up like that. And the good thing about this case holder is you can actually apply the pressure onto the edge of the case holder rather than onto the dial. Now we know that this hour hand is perfect, so let's go ahead and just push this minute hand back down here and see if that is going to do the job. Here we go. Okay, we're on. So let's see. Nothing's rubbing, which is good. Here we go, coming up to 12 o'clock. Oh, that is pretty bang on. That's pretty bang on. So we now have the absolute pleasure of putting on the seconds hand, which is by far one of the most frustrating things to do in your life. Look at that. That is just absolute perfection. Now, if we push it all the way in, it's gonna start moving. Oh, yes. And nothing is touching. There's perfect clearance between everything. Would you look at that? Would you just look at that? So the next thing we need to do is take out the stem. Now this is achieved by pushing down on this absolutely tiny little lever here and then very gently pulling out the crown. So let me just show you this. Here we go. Push down and pull out. Now I do this suspended above the movement holder because I don't want to then push down the the hands and the dial onto the dial holder, the movement holder. You could sit that down in there. There's a very skinny rim which would just grip the end of the dial, but if you can, just suspend it and very gently remove it. There we go. And now we can actually set it down into the case. So that is going to protect everything from this point onwards. So let's go ahead and grab our case and set it on down here. And we can flip it over and just remove the case back. There we go. We can take out the little crown. Is it a screw down? No, it's not. So this isn't going to be waterproof. Just to let everybody know, there's going to be an element of water resistance to it. There is 2 O-rings on the crown, on the actual barrel of the crown, but it isn't going to be completely waterproof. There isn't a screw down crown on there. Okay, so here we go. We're now going to case up everything, so we can just place the movement and the dial and the hands down, and then we can get our little duster and remove all of the dust. Here we go. And we can place the case over everything, trying to center it as best we can. So what we're going to do now is cut up the stem. The stem is in the packaging which comes with the movement. It's always handy to have a spare just in case you get this wrong. It can happen. What we're going to do is take the stem and screw the crown onto the stem like that. Make sure it's tight. You don't need to go crazy because we are going to be taking this off again in a second. Okay, and then we can push it all the way into the movement. There we go, that is all locked in. And you can see we have a bunch of excess that we're going to need to cut off. And then once we have done that, we can take a measurement from the inside of the crown to the case. So here we go, let's go ahead and do that. 8.17. And then what I like to do, because I'm a little bit janky, is use the other side of the calipers and then place my flush cutters right up against the caliper. Ouch! That always hurts. Oh, there we go. That's in. That is in. Hang on. Did we just do it? Let's screw the case back down. I'm not sure if we're actually ready to do that yet. But in case we are, let's remove the little washer here, the O-ring, and put it into our lubricator to give this a good chance of being somewhat waterproof, you know. Okay, here we go. Give this all a blow, given it's transparent. We need to make sure that there's no dust. Otherwise we'll see it and it'll bother us forever. And I say us, I mean me. Here we go. Right, let's flip it over. I've cut the stem down a little bit more. And now we still have full manual wind capabilities, but there is just the tiniest little bit of a gap now so that I can get my fingernail underneath it. And we move it out once and we can change the date. And currently right now it is the 7th. So let's go ahead and set the time and the date. There we go. And the time is 27. 5, 6, 7. There we go. And it's got hacking as well. These movements have hacking, which means the second hand stops. You got your manual wind. Okay, the bezel. Oh, it's all coming together. We can take off the protective covers now. How clear that is just awesome. That is so cool. I think that's going to be a really cool little talking piece. I've got a protective film on the front here as well to peel off. That is very, very nice. I am mega excited about that. Right, let's take off the protective covers on the bracelet. One thing that I did notice included in the kit is actually some quick release spring bars. So that means if you wanted to get like a NATO strap or a rubber strap, you can keep this for more formal transparent occasions, you know? Let's take out the existing spring bar. There we go. And here is the ones I was talking about. So it looks like a regular spring bar, but you've just got this little kind of bit sticking out. And then in the underside of the bracelet, there's a recess on one side so that you can actually... That is nice. That is nice. Look at that. So it sticks out so you can get to it. Oh, wow. That was really easy. So easy, in fact, that I might have missed the shot. Take off the old spring bar. And then in the packaging here is another 2 of those spring bars with the quick release, which is really nice. There we go. It slots in. I really hope I got that. Do you know what? That actually looks pretty sick on the clear bracelet. What? Wait a minute. That looks so clean. Holy moly. That looks so clean. It's so transparent. Like, it's ridiculously transparent. Oh my goodness. Okay, we just need to take out some pins. There's a few too many. Look at that. That is a seriously unique look right there. The Crystal Submariner. I rate that. That is so cool. And the fact that you can see inside the movement as well. But not just that, you can see it from all angles, the layers of it. That is a seriously unique watch right there. I'm a massive fan. Little bit disappointed that the sort of end links don't sit flush with the case, but because everything is transparent, you don't really notice that. And it's cool that you've got those quick release spring bars so that you can very easily swap out the bracelet onto something different. A blue silicone strap or a NATO strap of some description, but there we have it. The Crystal Submariner. Let's see what this thing looks like in the dark. Lots of people have been asking me to show the loom after I've built a watch. So here we go. Wow. The camera doesn't even do it justice. That looks so sweet. One more time, one more time, one more time. Oh my. That is smart. I am really happy with that. That is money well spent. And these things are so inexpensive as well. These are like $50, $60, $70 to build and so much fun. And then you have your own custom watch. That's another one for me to add to the collection. Thank you very much for watching. All the links are in the description. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye. Damn. Damn.